welcome. In front of me is a Vivo Y19 and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device. Now I am a little bit late, undeniably, as this device was released in 2019. So I will be looking at this device from a perspective if it's worth getting it now if you're looking for a budget device. Now this device presumably, let me quickly check, yep, was very budget or relatively budget when it got released. So at this point, a couple years afterwards, it should be even cheaper to pick up. And I'll check that out, how much it costs on average right now to get it. So anyway, let's just get into it. I'll start off with the specifications just so we have some kind of idea what we're getting in a box and what it would be the possible devices that would compete with this kind of package, this kind of product. So, interestingly enough, we have a foil put into the case. Not sure why. So let's take that off. Now the case isn't holding all that well. Okay, it will do. It seems a little bit loose, possibly because it spent probably a couple years with additional bulk added onto the phone, which usually cases obviously are designed to fit snugly onto the device. So anyway, let's turn it on. Now the vibration motor here is absolutely abhorrent. In terms of instructions, we have literally like nothing. Then inside we get earbuds with the actual like normal plug, not Type-C. Then we get a charging cable. Oh boy, and for $200 when it was released in 2019, they included a micro USB. Oh boy, that's not good. And this charger that has weight, or non-existing weight, which leads me to believe that you might be better off using any older device's charger that you have lying around that might be even more secure, maybe more. I just say I don't believe this charger is very good, and what is it, 10-watt charger straight out of China. I would be concerned about fire hazard more than how quick it charges the device. So there we go, that's basically all we have in a package. Just throw this garbage in there. Now moving on to the device, we have FunTouch OS. Now this obviously will be an old one, not the newest one, so keep that in mind. And at the release date, this was running Android 9. Oh god. And a FunTouch 9.2. We're right now at Android 13, presumably 14 on the Pixels, if I'm correct. Let me check. Android 14, I think. Yep, so we are now on Android 14, at least the Pixels are, and other devices are just waiting for the update. So this one has like 5 years or 5 missing updates of Android in between. And additionally, that being said, this is an older device, which by now is already completely out of the like manufacturer's security updates, so it's not going to be updated to the newest version of Android. It won't be getting the newest security patches anymore, I believe, as this expires like what, 2 years after, or 4 years. So in terms of 4 years, we're basically there. So just wanted to point that out for people that might be wondering about that. Now continuing on into the actual specifications of the device after I no, never mind. I was about to sneeze, but it went away. So anyway, let's start off with the display. The display right here is an LCD IPS display with a resolution of 1080p by 2340 pixels, putting it about 395 pixels per inch. So in terms of the resolution, it's pretty good. In terms of the display type, not so much. And unlike other devices nowadays released at this similar price tag, meaning about $200, this device does not come with any kind of high refresh rate display, as phones back then, meaning 2019, didn't really have that, at least most certainly not at this price. And continuing on, let's see, in terms of still sticking with the display, we do have about 84.5% screen to body ratio, so it's actually not that bad. We do have a little bit of a bigger chin at the bottom and this teardrop kind of thing, so it does look pretty good, holds up even at current standards, I would say. Now there are devices nowadays that look significantly better in terms of like the display size to bezels, so in this aspect it will fall off, but still it's most likely going to be cheaper than $200 at this point, so it actually will closer rival probably like $100 devices nowadays. And just to check that out, I'm gonna check out the prices right now of this device. And we are looking at about 100, a little bit more, about 140, something about that, 140 bucks about. Those are at least the first 2 or 3 options that come up in Allegro, which is, I am based in Poland, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. It's equivalent to Amazon in a nutshell. So yeah, about 140 bucks. Now it is a Black Week sale, so they are a little bit discounted, but not by much, but like 10 bucks. So again, 150 without the discount, about, give or take. So that being said, the price hasn't fallen that much, and I'm not sure if this device is actually worth the money. And considering it is quite old, it's going to be lacking in a lot of different things, and devices at about $150 price range will be still budget, but will be a little bit better than this. Keep in mind, several years has passed since this was released, so there has been changes done to what you get at the lowest end. As the saying goes, good phones get cheap and cheap phones get good. So this is basically the latter. So anyway, continuing on, let's touch upon the cameras. Now we do have a triple camera setup right here supposedly, but the main sensor is a 16 megapixel wide sensor. Then we got an 8 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel macro. So the last one, the macro, is just not even worth mentioning. And the cameras in general, even on a $200 device, like if we compare this now, or even $100 device, these are pretty like a low end. $100 and like $50 devices will get better cameras than this. So again, you're not getting much here in terms of cameras. Now the front, we do have a 16 megapixel wide sensor, and with both either front or the back, you can shoot at 1080p 30 frames. Then moving into the internals, we have 5000 mAh battery, which is advertised on the backs, which nowadays basically every device does have 5000 mAh battery, so not much to advertise there. It is kind of like a standard nowadays. In terms of storages, at the very lowest end, you can get 128 gigabytes of storage with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and the storage size doesn't change. It stays at 128, but goes up to 6 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs of RAM, depending on how much you need. Now, in all honesty, I would probably recommend going for 6 if you're still planning to pick up this device. 4 gigs, I would say, might be a little bit on the lower end, so you might need your applications to constantly keep reopening, and there won't be much happening in the background because there's not enough RAM to keep applications running there. So 6 gigs probably will be more beneficial for actual like day-to-day usability of this device. And moving on into the design, we have a fingerprint sensor at the back, which nowadays basically faded out of existence. Then we have a power button and volume rockers on the side. Let's actually take that off. Then on the other side, we have our SIM/SD tray. We have nothing at the top, and at the bottom we have our headphone jack and speakers, along with a micro USB charging port. Keep in mind, this is micro USB, not Type-C. So this device is so old that even Apple has a Type-C port now, and this does not. So that being said, concluding this device's overview, There are much better devices nowadays that you can pick up for about the same price as this will be selling for, and honestly the only reason you probably be picking that up is if you get like really good deal on it. But in general, even with a really good deal, I wouldn't recommend it because you will be losing security patches for the Android and newer versions of Android in general. So what you get right here is basically what you will have. Unlike if you get a new device, even like super budget ones, you still will probably get an update to a newer Android version along with security patches for like what, 3 or 4 years or so, which obviously is a great benefit if you actually care about security of your device, your data not being stolen, and your device not being hacked. So that is probably a very important thing that a lot of people should really care about, and this device obviously will not have that. It's already like past its prime. So in any case, that being said, highly recommend looking into other devices that will actually have some security patches coming in their way, unlike this device. And in terms of what you get for the money, it's not even like super great, at least at what I'm seeing. At $140, it's not a great deal for what you get. Devices at $150 price range, we're talking about new ones that came out like this year, will basically be faster and better than this device, and have the benefit of actually having updates, which this one will not. And obviously, if you don't mind spending more, I highly recommend picking up something more than $150, as at the very lowest end, devices will be slow as heck, but spending just like $50 more, $100 more, saying $100 more, I don't really consider much, but when starting with like $100 device, that's double the price. And I do want to just point that out. I might be looking at devices a little bit differently than some people that are looking for budget ones, but I consider spending like the money for something that is in mid-range. Mid-range is basically the sweet spot for devices, what I would consider, giving you really good value for your money along with a really good performance for a device that will basically last you a little bit longer and won't be frustrating to use, unlike something that is at the low end and kind of slow. So highly recommend checking out something that might be a little bit more, a little bit faster. And I'm gonna check out one device right now, just to give you maybe a recommendation of a better device, but I need to check how much it actually costs. Oh yeah, no, that's way more. So the device I was thinking of, but like I said, it's significantly more even right now. That would be the Poco F5 from Xiaomi. It was one of the better devices that I have seen that were released at the beginning of 2023. Maybe if you get a absolutely like banger deal for it, I would recommend going for this. It's a fantastic device, but like I said, this is significantly more expensive, coming at about $300. So like I said, way more. So anyway, with that being said, hopefully this kind of gave you some insight into this device and maybe some hopeful alternatives. And if this video helped you, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.